This is lesson 9.3b, circle graphs. You will be answering questions about circle graphs on the iLearn, and you will also have to know how to create a circle graph. So today we're going to do some lessons on IXL after we talk about how to do those things. A circle graph is a graph that shows data as parts of a whole circle. In a circle graph, the percents add up to 100. When the percents are not given, you've got to first determine what part of the whole each item represents. So what's going to happen, the most work that you have to do on these is only if they give you like a frequency table. This is like a frequency table, and it says the nuclear reactors in operation in different countries, okay? So they're giving you the number. They're not telling you the percentages. That would be really nice. I'm not giving you an angle degree or anything like that. So you have to figure all that up. In this example, it said the United States has 104, France has 59, Japan has 54, and other countries is 222. The first thing that you have to do if you're going to get this done is you're going to add up all the numbers that they've given you. So in this one, they did add them up for us, but you would add all these numbers up, as it shows over on the left, step 1. That's 439 altogether. Now you have to find what percentage it's going to be using a ratio and changing it to a decimal. So each one of the options, United States, France, Japan, and other countries, you're going to take every one of those numbers over 439. And you see what they've done? United States, they put 104 over 439. It says to round those to the nearest hundredth because 20.24, can't we change that to a percentage? What percentage is that? 0.24 is what percentage? 24%. So they use 2 decimal places because it'll be a whole number of a percentage. So every one of those, United States 104 over 439, Japan 54 over 439, France 59 over 439, and other 222 over 439. They did each one of those, divided it out, and rounded to hundredths. So United States would be 24%. Japan would be 12%. What percent would other be? 51%. Okay, so you know what percentages you're going to put on the circle graph when you get it done. But let's see why they've left them as decimals for right now. So when you're drawing a circle graph, you have to figure out when you're doing the circle, oops, let me change that. When you're doing the circle, how big each section would be. So you'd start with the center. You would actually need to know how many degrees to make each section. Now if I take a circle and I split it in half, how many degrees is each section? Wait, let's back up. Let's back up. How many degrees in a whole circle? 360 degrees. So how many degrees in half a circle? 180. What if I split it again? How many degrees in each one of those sections? 90. So 90 degrees, what percentage of the circle is that?
1/3. No.
25%. So do you see how 25% matches 90 degrees? Right? Well, look at our numbers, 0.24, 0.13. They're not nice and neat. You're not going to know exactly how many degrees those are. So what you have to do is figure out what portion of 360 degrees each one of these are going to be. So if you look at United States, it's pretty close to 25%, isn't it? 24%. So doesn't it make sense that it's at 86 degrees? It's right under 90. Okay, so so it's 86. The Japan would be 12% or 0.12 of 360, 43 degrees. 13% is just going to be a little bit bigger. So doesn't it make sense that France would be a bigger degree than Japan? 47 degrees compared to 43 degrees. And other, also 51%. My gosh, how much of the circle is that? 51%? More than half, isn't it? So it makes sense that it's bigger than 180 degrees. It's 184 degrees. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Everybody's going to participate. We've got 4 sections. We're going to come up with the angle degree of each of those. So I'm going to split you up into 4. It says the table shows the number of members of the swim team who competed at the swim meet. Each competed in only one event. Make the circle graph of the data. So the thing that we're going to do together is we're going to add up how many there were altogether. How many were there altogether? So we got to add 18 plus 7 plus 5 plus 2. How many were there altogether?
32.
32. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to let Team 1, and I'll tell you in a minute who's on Team 1. Team 1, you're going to come up with the percentage and the angle degree for freestyle. Team 2, same thing. Percentage and angle degree for breaststroke. Team 3 for backstroke. And Team 4 for butterfly. So what your jobs are is first is to find the percent. Okay, first find the percent, and second you're going to find the angle degree. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording and split you up into 4, and you're going to figure that out, and then we'll turn it back on to come up with how you found your answers. Okay, Team 1. Team 1, you're supposed to find the percentage. So who's on Team 1? Let me see Team 1. Okay. What was the first step you did, Team 1? Somebody tell me. What was the first thing you did? What? The other way. So 18 divided by 32, and what did you get? What was it? Okay, then you, okay, divide 18 by 32. 18 divided by 32. What is it? 0.5625. Make sure you guys are writing this down so you know. So 0.5625. Now, Team 1, round that to the nearest hundredth. 0.56. So your team, your first thing was 56%. How do you find your angle measure? What do you do with the 0.56? Times what? What do you multiply by? How many degrees in a circle? Caden Wisman, how many degrees in a circle? So you should have said 360. So 0.56 times 360. 0.56 times 360. You think it's going to be, okay, 201.6, and you round to the nearest degree. So I would say 202 degrees. Now, they had it the hardest because they were the first one. So hopefully the rest of you guys are going to do know exactly what to say when we get there. So that was Team 1. Team 2. Team 2, what did you do? Are you on Team 2, both of you? Okay. Liam, you tell me the first step, and Dylan's going to tell me the second.
The first step was 7 divided by 32.
7 divided by 32, which is what?
It has a bunch of numerators, but rounded is 0.22.
It comes out to 0.22, which means 7 is 22%. Dylan, what do you do with the 0.22?
We take 0.22 times 360,
And how big is the angle?
79.2, but if you round it, 70, regular 79.
So 79 degrees. Okay, 79 degrees. Team 3, who's on team 3? Who's going to be the representative for team 3?
You.
Okay, Caden, what's the first step? Caden, what's the first step?
5 divided by 32.
5 divided by 32, and what did you get?
I got like 3 different answers, but the first one, I got 0.15.
But if you rounded it, it would be 0.16. 0.16. So 5 is 16%. The backstroke is 16%. Now, somebody up there in front. Emma, what do you do with the 16%? And how many degrees did you get? Okay, did anybody in that group do 16% of 360? What'd you get?
234%.
Too big. So 16% of 360, 0.16 times 360. Alexa, did you multiply already?
57.6.
What is it?
It's 0.58. It's 58%.
It's not point, it's just 58 degrees. Yeah, 58 degrees.
I knew that.
Okay, last row. Shh. Team 4, the butterfly. What did you do to find your percentage, Andrew?
Okay, so what we did is we took 2 divided by 32, which equals 0.0625. Then it equaled 6.25%.
Okay, it ends up being 6%, okay? Because you round to the nearest hundredth, so 0.06. And then what do you do with the, Brennan, what do you do with the 0.06 then? What do you got to multiply the 6% by? 0.06? What? Multiply it by what?
360 divided by 6.25, which equals 57.5.
Okay, you're supposed to multiply 0.06, the 6% times 360, and you get 22 degrees. So 22 degrees, 202 degrees, 79 degrees, 58 degrees. If we were going to actually draw this, if we were going to actually draw this, we would come up with a really nice circle, and we would put a center in here. That doesn't look like a really good circle. I'm going to try that again. It sure does. I tried to squish it in there.
Wait, you made that?
Okay, let's see if that's better. There we go. So we'll put our center in. You start with the segment, and you start measuring. You're going to do that. You're going to end up measuring degrees. Okay, so the first section, it's called a central angle. Okay, so this angle that has the vertex on the center, it's called a central angle. And the central angle is what you measure. To put your section in there. And when you're doing a circle graph, if you look at this one up here, notice they make it big enough they can write what the section is, and they put a percentage right in there. Also, make sure on a circle graph they label it. For right now, we're not going to actually be drawing circle graphs. You're going to be answering questions about them. So you do need to know how to do the central angle, though. So you find the percentage and take that times 360.